gentlemen, I'm joined by the one and only Mr. Patty P, co-host for The Flank, the new co-host, 20-time champion, 2-time world champion, looking like $1 million. What's that hat on, though, Pat? You got an LA hat on today?
Yeah, just LA hat on today. You know, I had to switch it up.
Pat, I wanted to show you a little bit of love, man, before we get into this episode. Obviously, we got Cammy and Marky B coming on. We got producer Ben, Jenny Nassim. So we got a good one today. Cammy, Marky, thank you guys for joining us on the show. It's an absolute pleasure. You guys are looking phenomenal from top to bottom. You know, Pat, I want to say congratulations on a fantastic career. I think everybody in the community can say nothing but good things about you. Well, there might be some bad things, but that was the whole gimmick, right? You were a villain, right? Now we need a new villain, Pat. But Pat, congrats, man, and it's awesome to have you a part of the Flank and a part of the show. I think everybody's really excited to have you on board. I think you're a very knowledgeable person when it comes to Call of Duty or gaming in general, any game. And speaking of gaming, you're gonna be a game developer. Is what a lot of people don't know. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? You can't tell them what studio though, huh? You can't say that yet.
Yeah, so I can't talk about where I'm at or what I'm working on, but yeah, no, I'm excited. It was an opportunity that kind of presented itself a few months ago, and you know, one thing led to another, and eventually a full-time opportunity presented itself. So yeah, I jumped all over it. But yeah, I'm excited, and you know, I'm excited to share more news when the time comes. I'm not sure when that'll be. No timeline just yet, but shouldn't be too long. So, but yeah, man. And thank you about my career, man.
Oh yeah.
It was a long time. A lot of time, effort, energy was put into Call of Duty and competing at the highest levels. So yeah, it's a different life. Not well,
Yeah,
'cause
dude.
I mean, I haven't played since 2020, but finally being retired officially
Yeah.
feels a little different.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a weird feeling when you step back, for sure. Or actually just like even just letting it all out there and actually announcing that you're taking a step back, it's just like you just officially step away, right? So it's definitely a weird feeling for sure. But shout out to Patty P. You're gonna be seeing a lot of him this year on the Flank. He's gonna be the official co-host. If you guys didn't see his tweet, he's gonna be with us every single day doing what he does, unless something comes up. But yeah, we're gonna have a fantastic year. We got KB and Marky B. Two fucking legends and champions at a Kickoff Classic. Look at these guys. Now, I got to ask you guys. Marky, we can start with you, or can you feel free to answer. But I heard you guys were having problems just scrimming beforehand. I heard you guys didn't play much. You weren't expecting much going into it. I see Cammy already chuckling a little bit. But what was it like before the kickoff? What was going on with you guys?
I mean, had a couple of weeks ago, so like we didn't have much knowledge of where we stood when we were obviously back home in Europe over Christmas. So we're just scrimming against EU AM teams, so like you don't know where you stand in the pecking order of at the pro level. So when we came back, it obviously took some adjusting, but we were improving quite quickly, I'd say, over the last couple of weeks.
Hell yeah! Wait, were you guys just straight smoking the EU AM scene?
No.
Were you guys working on them, or were they
we
actually?
were getting bodied, bro.
What?
We were
Really?
getting
These guys are nasty?
So what happened was, like, before we went back home, Ben went home 2 weeks before we did. So realistically, like, obviously we thought we were maybe going to scrim some NA teams, but we didn't bother.
Yeah.
So we actually took like a 2.5 week break before we flew home. So when we got home, obviously all these EUAM teams have been scrimming, so they started bodying us for like the first, I don't know, like week or two, and then obviously we slowly got to catch up to it. But like, it was pretty tough, to be fair. Like they're actually, there's some good teams. You got the Spanish brothers, they're pretty good. And you got like Vortex's team, they're also pretty good. So like they were like the main two teams we were playing, and
maybe
they're
that
pretty
was
good.
like the best practice you guys could have got. Did those guys get you cracked for the pro season? Because they're probably, did they play differently? Like, does the EU Challenger scene play different than, say, the pro scene? Like when you guys were at the event, did you feel a big difference?
Not really. I think the Spanish teams like they're pretty good. If they were in the league, they'd probably be like, I'd say they definitely be like top 8, top 6. I'd say.
Oh
like,
shit!
They're actually like,
that's good guys.
No, they're like no, yeah, they're good. They're like individual talents really good, but I think for years like Methodz, Journey, and Lucky, like them three, like they've not really had like a good fourth Spanish player, but I think they've picked up someone new. I think he's 18, the Real kid, and he seems pretty good. So I think like them having that fourth bloke is like helped them quite a lot.
Yeah.
Well, my question would be, and I don't know how much you guys have practiced against NA Challenger teams, but like if you were to compare the NA Challengers versus the EU Challengers, who would you give the edge to if you take the best of the best from both regions?
I think like I'd say like from the 2 teams in Europe, I'd say they'd give, if not better, they'd be very, very close with like the top NA teams. I just think there's more on average, like more like I would say more American amateurs than there is Europeans. There's maybe like 2, 3 good teams. Yeah, there's a massive drop off. So after like the 2, 3 teams in Europe, it's like a massive drop off. But whilst NA's like maybe got like a couple top teams, and then you got like a few more like decent teams, and it kind of like goes down slowly, you know.
Yeah, like the Spanish guys, and then Vortex and stuff, they're like on another level compared to any other teams, and then I'd say it just kind of gets a bit weaker as you go down.
Dude, that's crazy to think about, because wasn't there rumors about a Real Madrid team maybe coming in or something like that? I don't know. I remember hearing this like a year ago, and I always thought that the Spanish guys were gonna make their way back into it, because they were nice. Like when they used to play, the Spanish guys were good. It just shows you how much talent there's actually out there, right? That's not actually in the league. So I'm curious.
What was their best game? Like BO4?
Yeah, that was when they first came about. I think them 3, and they qualified for the league, didn't they? And then
yeah.
Like at the start of the league, I think they were actually bodying people for like the first for like however long. Like they had a really good record in the league, but I think when it came to the events, they maybe like floated around like top 6, top 8, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was an event when we were with Splice. I remember. I think it was London. So I think they got top 8 maybe one event. So they were not bad at all, and that was their first year. And obviously, like you said, they've got real now too. So
cool.
Journey was the first year of Modern Warfare, I believe. He grinded NA Challengers as a sub for a CDL team, correct? Or he was on one of the academy teams.
Yeah, it was FaZe, wasn't it?
yeah, he was on FaZe Academy. Yeah.
Who is this? Who's this, Ben?
Journey.
Oh yeah, Journey. Yeah, Journey was, and he was fine. He was getting along with those guys. How was his English? His English was a little rough when he was with them, right? But he probably got a lot better now. I don't know if you guys noticed Hyde's English, but from one year to the next, I mean, his has changed dramatically. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on with those guys. Listen, we have a lot of questions coming in from you guys from Reddit, but before we get into it, I just want to ask you guys a little bit about the event and kind of how you guys feel. I mean, how did you guys feel going into it mentally in the middle of the tournament? What was going through you guys' heads, and how did you guys end up coming out with the dub?
I mean, right, I actually don't know. It was sort of like it was like a chain effect, right? So like we didn't really know what to expect going into the first game, and then I think we actually beat Florida pretty bad, like 3 respawns. So then we were like, hold on, we're actually pretty nasty this game as well, because like I said, the scrims and stuff, like we had no idea where we actually were at.
Yeah.
And then obviously we know our S&D's good. Like I think that helps us a lot, especially against like the like better leagues in the team, better teams in the league. So like. I actually don't know. I don't know what happened. It was kind of just like a chain effect, like a confidence boost game after game, and then obviously we just clutched up in the final.
Yeah, just momentum and shit. Just kind of rolling with it. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Go ahead, Pat.
You said your S&D was good, but how much practice did you guys get on S&D? Obviously, you guys have, you guys stuck together. You were a team last year. You were solid at Search last year. So, did you get a lot of practice in S&D in this game, or is it just kind of like relying on those kind of same fundamentals and ideas that you guys had from previous years?
No, I mean we had some decent like S&D practice. I'd say we didn't really go like obviously in Cold War as the year went on. We kind of had like pretty in-depth strats and stuff and certain things that we do. But on this game we kind of just did like our defaults, floated around the map, and then like in the tournament we didn't want to for the kickoff we didn't want to like full on go deep in S&D. So we just kind of did our normal shit and then adjusted as the rounds went on, I guess.
You see Vance in the chat.
Look good.
You see Vance, he said we're going with the flow. What does he not want to give away anything? He doesn't want to give away any strats and shit. Listen, let's get into some of these Reddit questions. Unless Ben or Pat, you got any questions you want to ask them before we get into it? There's so many questions on Reddit, so I figured we just rolled right through these.
I have one. I actually have a couple, and Pat, we can kind of alternate asking them if you want. Like, there was a lot of chatter before this event. Well, okay, so first off, with you guys winning, and I'm sure you guys know this, but an full EU team hadn't won a LAN event in quite some time. I believe the last time was when Vance was on Splice and they had that really good run in IW was the last time a full EU team had won a LAN. Like, in your guys' mind, with all that considered, with obviously single elimination format, like, in your guys' eyes, does this event, like, quote-unquote count?
I don't know, I don't know. I'd love it to count. I'd love it to count, but, like, I don't know. I don't know if you count it,
I count
as a player,
sure.
I don't know if you count it.
No. It counts. It counts 100%. If you compare like other events that happened previously, there'd be events where like some teams, the top teams might have not been there. There's like a bunch of different situations over the years where events that might not be considered the most competitive have counted. So I would say it's like it definitely counts. Is it as important as a major or champs? Then I would say definitely not. That's obviously.
Listen, man, that shit fucking counts, Marky. That shit counts.
Yeah.
All right, you're playing the best of the best. Who gives a fuck if it's a single limit? Who gives a fuck what it's about? All right, there's a prize pool. There's a tournament. You're on stage. There's fans. It's on LAN. What the fuck else do you want? There's people counting online events. There's people who count events from fucking 2000 Bumblefuck that nobody was even there. You know what I'm saying? So come on. The event counts. I don't know why people are talking like it doesn't count. It counts.
No, I agree with you, Tom. It's an odd one. I have a question for you guys. I want to just kind of switch up a little bit and kind of talk a little bit about last season. Obviously, before this, when you guys had 2 tough losses at the end of last season, like what was sort of the biggest takeaway that you guys had from how last season ended and the changes that you guys made to start the season off stronger?
I think like the biggest thing from last season was our resilience throughout like all the bad losses, because we had quite a few tough losses, reverse sweeps. Obviously, the Minnesota one being like the pinnacle. But I think we just had that sort of mentality going into this season. You know, we knew we were going to be a top team, and we wanted to continue that going into this season. But yeah, I'd say that we didn't really have any doubts that we would be because of those bad losses. I don't think it was ever like, oh no, we might have crumbled now at this point or something along those lines. We've shown our resilience throughout the seasons.
See Zinni in the chat. This guy's a moron.
We'll get to the Zinni question later. It's on the list.
Can you give me some insight on why? Well, no pun intended. But give me some insight on why there was so many mixed reactions on your guys' team going to this event. Like me and Tommy were talking about it, like how the pro player perception was, the rumors floating around on how good Toronto is, and we heard really good and we heard really bad. Like it was so mixed. So why do you think that was? And what, do you think your practice was kind of the reason, or what do you think?
I think people just had us like, I don't know. Well, to be fair, we actually hadn't played quite a few teams. I think go before that event. Like, I know we didn't play Optic. I know we like the whole time, like since this game came out, we never scrimmed Optic until like yesterday. So there were some teams that we definitely didn't play. But I think I think people just had high expectations from last year, and then weren't really actually counting like our practice and what they were doing to us. Maybe some teams were, because there was definitely some days where like it was looking slow for us. Like days where I think London, we didn't even beat a map or win a map against London, sorry. And then like Boston, I'm pretty sure bodied us on stream one day. Like we only won 1 map. So like that's what was kind of like in our heads in terms of like we didn't really know where we were at, because some days we'd get on, it'd be okay. Some days we'd get on, it'd be quite bad. It was just like a bit inconsistent. But I guess when we actually got to the event and got back into it, it kind of like changed.
Is that the game though, Cam? Do you think it's the game? Because I've been hearing a lot of every pro team says that. They're like, yeah, one day we get on, we fry. Next day we get on, we shit. It goes back and forth.
I think this game's kind of similar to like MW, right? Like on MW, it was pretty rare, especially like towards the end of the year. Like there wasn't really any blowouts, right? Like most games came down like 250, 200. I feel like it's the same sort of thing this game. Like I think it's rare that unless like you're straight up frying someone, like the game, because of the way the rotations work, like everyone's like holding and shit. Like it's not exactly the hardest thing to hold. So yeah, I think the game definitely doesn't help with it. But like, I mean, what can you do?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I know there's a lot of problems with the game. I definitely get that. But when you watch the game, I mean, a lot of it makes sense. I mean, there's definitely spawns that are fucking fugazi, and there's definitely shit that people hate. I definitely think there needs to be more maps and shit like that. But I mean, it makes sense from watching it back. Like the spawns, you guys know where people are coming from and how to set shit up and do certain things. I mean, there's still a right and wrong way to play in the game, whether it's shit or good, right? So I think that's something that a lot of these pro teams got to focus on, because you know how people are, man. Game shit, they don't care, they don't try, they get smoked, they get dropped, and it's a fucking ongoing cycle, and it never fucking ends. We got some questions coming in from Reddit. Unless Pat, Ben, any more questions before we get in? I think Reddit, there's a ton on Reddit, dude. There's a ton, but go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, so I got a couple. So I wanted to ask a question. I'm looking to sort of like the sort of journey here. So because I don't think you guys have been kind of asked this question. So I know in the off season there are a lot of rumors about was Toby staying, and for those that don't know, Toby is Kleenex, who's the aggressive star sub player along with Ben Vance and Cammy on Toronto. Like, was there any doubt in your guys' mind that he wasn't? How do I phrase this better? Was there any doubt in your mind that he was going to leave, or do you think that was all just noise? It was just business stuff.
Well, like at the end of the day, the other 3 players were all signed like onto extensions, and Toby was a free agent. So of course, like there was other teams, thrown offers his way. So it was obviously a bit of a different process to the other players, but at the end of the day, he chose to stay here. So didn't really change too much. We were confident of that happening regardless, so we kind of knew that the team was going to be the same going into the next season.
Speaking of Kleenex, I mean, how big of an issue is the tissue? You know, I'm a big Kleenex
Pat
fan
loves
myself.
Kleenex. He loves them.
Especially when I was watching you guys, and then I tweeted out, I think I said something like, Sib and Pred are disgusting. They're just not Kleenex disgusting. And then you guys go to Berlin Hardpoint right after that tweet, and just you all fry. You all had your way. But yeah, so like kind of speak on him and his kind of role on your guys' team.
Yeah, I mean, like Toby's just obviously an all-out aggressive player, and like he allows the other players to kind of have a lot more time to think of what they're doing. He's constantly just obviously putting up high interactions, and he's always been that way since we first got him into the team on Modern Warfare, and that was like a big difference in our team initially when we made that switch. And I think that he's been unreal at this game, I think, and he's going to continue to get better as time goes on too. He's incredibly talented. Obviously, when you watch what he does on the map, it's pretty mental. Like he doesn't look like a normal POV to watch, so he obviously uses his talent to win incredible gunfights that he shouldn't really win, but it is what it is. It helps us win matches.
Yeah, that guy's fucking gross. I think we can all agree on that. He's fucking nasty. We got some that Kleenex question was actually somewhere in this Reddit. I was gonna ask that, but Ben, good question. Because I heard some rumors about that too. But I mean, at the end of the day, man, it's a business. If he's a free agent, people are gonna, Ben, why you laughing, motherfucker? What's wrong with you? Why you fucking laughing?
You trying to slide that word into every sentence you use. You wanna say it again?
Basis. Listen, I feel like if somebody's a free agent, at the end of the day, if he's a good player, they're gonna do what they gotta do to try and get him on the team. And any professional is gonna look at everything that's on the table. That's just what you gotta do as a professional. Look at everything on the table. But he made a right decision sticking with you guys. I feel like you guys are one of those teams that together, you guys are on another level. I feel like you guys bring out the best in each other. I really do. So I look forward to watching you guys play. We got a lot of questions coming in here, so I definitely want to start these going. Ben, two questions you ask is on here. So did you read this, Ben? You make sure it's not on here?
No. I got one more question.
All right, go ahead, Ben.
You guys have kind of a unique situation. I'd like for you guys to talk about it. You're the rare team, I think, that's doing travel between two different countries. With the current situation, like especially traveling back from events, like how difficult is it? Like dealing with the restrictions in Canada, does it have to change up your practice schedule a bit? Like, talk to us about it.
Great question.
Yeah, like when we're obviously traveling to the States and when we're leaving, going back to Canada, we have to do tests. So like on the Friday of the event just there, we had to go get tested to travel back, and then obviously we have to do that on the way there too. So yeah, I mean, on occasions it's obviously rushing straight from practice to go to the test or something like that, but most of the time it's scheduled out where it doesn't have that much of an impact. But yeah, it's not too difficult, to be honest. I think we've got used to it at this point. We've done a lot of tests because even when we're at the event, we're getting tested. So it's like 5 in 1 week sort of thing. Sometimes. So
that's crazy. 5 tests in 1 week. Man, on it.
Yeah.
What are they shoving that shit up your nose, Marky? Is that how they're doing it too? I hate that shit.
We're doing all kinds of different tests. Rapid ones, PCRs. We're doing them all.
They be poking your brain and shit.
Real quick, Tom, before you get into the Reddit questions.
No, you're good. You're good.
Ben, you brought up the current situation. And this was a big topic. Obviously, Clay made it a point. Envoy followed up. Regarding the kind of COVID restrictions at the event, can you kind of speak on, as a player, what your perspective was? What your routine looked like, how much fan interaction there was, and kind of give us a little insight on how that looked from an event perspective from a player.
I mean, like, well, for us, like we literally didn't really do anything apart from, I think, maybe we went out to get dinner once before the event, and then maybe Sunday night, I think, we went out for dinner. Now, apart from that, we literally hotel room to venue to so we didn't really go out of our way to do anything else. I'm not too sure, to be fair. Like we had our masks on, we were strapped. I think we got a bit unlucky. I think some people got quite unlucky. I think seeing some people obviously going to the crowd and whatnot, but be interacting with fans and then coming backstage was a bit off-putting as a player, especially for us. Obviously, we don't want to have COVID, and I don't know what the rules are with if you're flying domestic in US, do you have to have a test to go on a flight?
I think
or
so.
can you just
do?
No.
Wait,
Okay.
do you?
I think you have to take a flight when you land. back, right?
No, flying domestic, you do not have to test on either side.
Oh,
of
I
that.
thought you said
just
international. My
you
bad.
just when you like checking
Really?
for your flight, when you're checking for your flight,
Yeah,
like
no.
you have to self-attest that you meet these criteria. But you don't have to take a PCR or something. Now, mind you, like certain locales have like local regulations. You're supposed to quarantine when you go to certain cities. And
So what you're
stuff like
telling
that.
me is people are 100% flying with COVID right now. There's no doubt.
Well, that was the thing for us. Like, obviously, we didn't want to get stuck in Dallas, right? So even there's probably maybe some people are sick, right? They might firm it and fly home, but like we couldn't do that. Like, if we had COVID, we were stuck in fucking Arlington with no setups for 2 weeks. So like we were trying to be like extra cautious when it came to stuff like that, because obviously that would hurt our practice. Like we'd be stuck in a hotel for however long it would be to get back to Toronto. And with other teams, obviously they like some teams stay in Dallas, some teams stay wherever. They could just kind of go back. So that was like the main thing like on our minds. We're going to that event anyways. We didn't want it like messing up our like major one practice.
Yeah, I mean 1 or 2 days of practice sucks. I can only imagine like a week or two of no practice. I feel like that's just setting you guys back a long shot. But let's get into this fucking Reddit, man, because there's so many questions. I feel like we're gonna be here for a minute. A lot of people coming in. First question involves Tony. Anthony Zinni was in the chat. He was saying some shit. Question for both. How did the team handle the transition of Insight for Methodz in the Cold War season? Did a lot of work have to be put into that shift? Or was it a perfect fit as soon as he was introduced into the team? Doy Gata, thank you for the question, man.
To be honest, it was like quite instantly a very strong move. Like we felt like we needed a bit more of a slow-paced AR, and instantly we were doing much better in practice, and I think it was apparent to us that we were going to do better.
Cammy, anything you got to add, or just a vouch right there?
I mean, yeah, you pretty much smashed it on the head right there. I feel like with the way our team was, like, I mean, you've seen how we played towards the second half of the year. Like, essentially, with the way me, Toby, and Ben played, we just kind of needed like another player to like slow down and just like take their time. A lot of people called Zin slow, and I think like throughout like MW and the start of Cold War, bro, he was not slow, man.
He picked up
like,
the pace. He picked it
up.
He
did. He was like he was trying to play the same speed as me, so it was like when me and him were both like kind of not really like doing like what an AR should do. It was kind of like we're making us inconsistent. Like if we weren't frying in gunfights, like we were just losing rotations and stuff like that. So I think having Jamie, obviously, he was just like that extra backline, just like sort of like bailout for if any of the three of us made mistakes.
Yeah, Tony, what the fuck? You playing too slow now? You playing too fast? What the fuck's wrong? You gotta get your pacing. You gotta sort out your pacing, Tony. What's wrong with you? We got another question coming in. Top 3 EU players that are not in the league that you think deserve a shot. That's tough. I feel like there's so many. Isn't there so many EU players that should that are pretty good? I feel like there are. Not that I can think of, but I feel like you guys know.
There's a few competing in NA.
Is there?
There's Sean.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Shawnee and those guys for sure.
There's Vico as well, who plays with like Panda and them.
Oh, I've heard good things. I've heard good things about that guy. I've heard really good things. Yeah.
I mean, there's a few. I'd say like Real, obviously from the Smash team. He's like kind of an elite. I think he's quite a good SMG. I'd say he'd be like one of those guaranteed in the top 3. Then probably Vortex from like the other AM team.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'd add to that. Who would you put as the third? Wee Man or Harry or?
Wee Man.
Well, Harry's the London sub.
Playing?
Yeah, bro. I played with like, I think with like in Black Ops 4, like he had a pretty good year, and then just never got the chance to at least get like a sub spot on MW. And I feel bad for the guy, man. Like him and especially Nolson. I mean, Nolson, I think he played with Splice for a bit. I don't think it was an ideal situation for him, but I feel like, yeah, that like definitely Wee Man. He's been at it for years. He's still going for it, and I think he's just never been given the opportunity to actually to get into the league.
Shout out to KRS for the question. Thank you guys for answering. We got another one coming in from DNA. He said, question for Marky B. Which current CDL player are you a fan and like the way little grammar issues, like the way they move on a map, not including Toronto players, obviously. So, I mean, who are some guys that you're a fan of?
Pred, definitely. I think he's like, been a great player for the last couple of seasons in the Challengers side, but this season he's looking, obviously now getting his opportunity, he looks pretty good. He's slaying at the same level, and that was a real question where you'd be like, oh, maybe he's playing against like Australian players, and obviously like the talent has a bit of a drop off there as well. Same thing in the EU. So you think, oh, maybe he's just farming those sort of guys, but obviously he's still doing the same thing. And I think he plays like pretty disciplined at times too, which is obviously helpful for his team.
What about you, Cam? You agree with him? You got a different answer?
No, I think that's a pretty good answer. I think he came in, he's like showed straight away, which I think is like really important. Like starting off strong, getting good confidence for yourself, and he's probably gonna be pretty good.
I'm gonna be honest, and Pat, you're the one who told me this. Remember, you were telling me that you felt like Pred just knows what he's doing. It looks like he's been doing this for a minute. That's got to be his confidence, no?
Yeah, that was my reaction when I kind of every time the observer was on Pred was like his movements were just like so
top tier.
He knew exactly what he wanted to do on the map. There was no hesitation. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. There was no hesitation in his gameplay whatsoever. And for a fast-paced sub, you sometimes see that where they have multiple opportunities and they kind of hesitate on what they want to do. But yeah, he looks really good, and yeah, I think him being in the ANZ region so long and just being at the top there was just kind of like it was a crazy confidence booster, and then he came here with that same confidence, and yeah, he's got the gunny to back it up. So
yeah,
so yeah,
the word I like to use is decisive. He's decisive on the map. That's what you know what I'm saying. That's the word I like to use. It's my word of the day. Okay.
You were decisive as well, Tom.
I appreciate that, Pat. Back in the day, I used to do what I could do. Some flanks here or there, hence the shoulder flank. We got some more questions coming in. This is actually a really good question. Sorry that I have to bring this up, guys. If you guys already know where I'm going with this, I apologize in advance. But I did see the colleague also tweet something out, which I don't know what that was all about. The colleague tweet, I don't know what's going on there. You guys are catching strays for that for sure. But somebody said, I really want to know the mindset of the guys after the MN reverse sweep, Minnesota Rokkr reverse sweep, and losing to FaZe at champs. Must have been some dark times for the guys. How did they work past that, given that so many teams would have blown up if that happened to them? Which is true. Sometimes, teams with bad losses don't handle it very well. So.
Nah, I think the worst one, to be fair, was probably champs. Like, because obviously, like, the Minnesota one was bad, right? But, like, champs was like, that's champs. Last event, like, we came that close. Like, so many small things, like, changed it. But the Minnesota one, like, obviously after the loss, you're obviously like, what just happened? Like, you're probably more just mind blown, like more than devastated. And then the devastated stage hits you. I think you got to laugh it off at that point. Honestly, like you can't really what's done is done. You can't go back in the past. You can't change it. Like, right. So that kind of just like, to be fair, it helped us for champs as well, because I think like if you actually look at the maps in that reverse sweep, I think 3 of them were S&Ds. One was a control, one was a hard point, and I think like. We lost obviously them 3 S&D straight, which we weren't used to losing, and then it helped us like kind of figure out what we needed to sort going into champs. But obviously it would have been nice to win,
Yeah, I mean 100%. If it makes you guys feel any better, you guys are not the only ones to go through some heartbreaking losses like that. I mean, Pat, you've been doing this for a long time. What about you? What are some losses that you can remember that just fucking stung? Because mine for sure is World War II champs, without a doubt. That one hit me bad. Because I thought we should have took down TK. We should have won that shit. But go ahead, Pat. Even though you won it. Fuck you, Pat. Motherfucker.
Yeah, we were actually scared to play. Not scared. Scared is the wrong term. We were really hoping TK beat you guys, because we matched up way better versus TK than we did you guys. Just the way you played. But yeah, I'm not sure, man. I mean, I've definitely been a part of some losses that PAX is one that comes to mind. But those I don't really know how many like comeback losses off the top of my head, but
yeah.
There's definitely been some cases that, and yeah, those losses suck. They sting more than more than a normal loss would, but because you just feel like you're the better team.
Yeah, make you better for sure.
After you get past that like phase window, I think what you guys talked about, like after you get past that like what the hell just happened kind of mentality, and you actually look into it and you're like, you really kind of get out some kinks that you might have not known about prior. And I think it did in your guys' case help you guys last year. I mean, from that loss to Minnesota and then going into champs, because you guys look nasty. But yeah, the losses are fun like that. No way.
You know who's been through a lot of losses? Ben Nassim. This guy in FIFA can't touch me, bro. Can't touch me. FIFA, forget about it.
Daggers right now.
Listen, I used to watch this guy in Columbus in the apartments. We were before the show. I was talking to Mark and Cammy, guys. I don't know if you guys were in here because a lot of people joined up since then. But we were talking about the Columbus, Ohio apartments and how much of a good time we had down over there. And Ben, you used to get slapped around like no other. You know what I'm saying? Mark, I had this guy. This guy was kicking water bottles. He was throwing shit in the apartment. He was throwing shit. I said, Ben, come back. No. It's only 7-0. You can bring it back. You can bring it back, Ben. You know, man.
All I'll say is the win-loss record is not as one-sided as Tom's making it say, and that is the rest.
Wait, but Ben, you're a water bottle slinger, bro.
Oh, he was slinging them, bro.
I was going through it, man.
He actually was, but Ben's a fucking go. But Ben, we both got way better at FIFA from that time, just like because we were grinding it every day. I think it was making me a better COD player, honestly. So we got another one coming in. I mean, that was literally my MVP season, wasn't it, Ben? That was the MVP World War II season when we were grinding FIFA, which is crazy. Yep. Good times,
Did you ever play Adam Assault in FIFA? Because when I teamed with him, he always talked crazy. Like he was
really he's good as fuck at that shit.
FIFA. But I don't know if he was actually good. Like I don't know who he played against. He might have just been playing.
Yeah, you know how people talk, Pat. You know how they talk. Everybody's good. Everybody's good. Yeah, until they play me. No, I'm just kidding. But Reese, I heard, is the best. I heard Raid is I heard he's good as fuck. And Trey, I heard Zero's good as fuck. I could be wrong. No, Trey is good as fuck. I played Trey. This guy was flipping a ball over my head.
I got destroyed by Trey.
Weeman's also pretty good too, right? Cam?
Yeah. Weeman, Trey, and Raid, I think are like the
top three.
The best
he trained him? He went through Weeman training?
Yeah, he did 100%.
Oh, I gotta go through Weeman training.
Oh yeah.
All right, but let's move past FIFA because we got some more questions. I don't want to keep you guys too long. You guys had a long day of scrims, probably, right? You guys been practicing all day. How did that go today? You guys played today?
Wait, who did we play first?
Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. Yeah, it went pretty. I think we were Minnesota and Optic. It was pretty productive day.
Nice. That's all that matters.
Are you guys doing two scrims a day? Is that kind of what's the standard right now?
Yeah, mostly. Maybe a third. Yeah, here and there.
All respawns.
Third with S&D usually, like.
Oh, you're playing S&D now? In a daily scrim? Oh, okay, cool.
Usually if we're doing a third set of S&D, that's kind of when we do it.
Third, okay, gotcha.
Oh, wow, yeah. I didn't even know people were playing S&D like that. Or maybe it's just, is it just you guys doing that, or is everybody doing that?
A lot of teams are playing S&D yeah.
Especially, I bet the teams that got pissed on in search at the event are probably like, yo, we need S&D practice every day.
Oh, definitely. 100%. There's definitely teams that went into that kickoff that probably barely played any search at all. You know there is. That's usually how it goes.
Or like played one and thought they were really good and then got
yeah, they won one map online and they thought they were good to go. Which, to be fair, there isn't many maps. I think one of the main issues we were having, or at least I was telling Pat, because I know on the last flank a lot of people were saying we need to analyze more and do this and do that, and I definitely hear people on certain things. I watched it back and I definitely agree with them. It's just hard to analyze when you're watching the same maps over and over and over again. You know, especially Control.
There's not much different things happening on like map by map. Like one series, the same shit's gonna happen pretty much the next series, just because it's currently in its setup. It's so standard.
I think like we said, it's just so mixy. It's so mixy that you have to go back and find those key points or write them down when you're watching because it just happens so fast. You know, there's always so many key moments that happen, but it's just hard to remember that. So I think next show, Pat, or next whenever when the season starts, I'll definitely be jotting some stuff down just so we don't lose track of what the fuck's actually going on. Because Vanguard is, dude, this game's cracked.
And you gotta think. Our executive producer just disappeared.
Yeah, I don't know. Our executive producer didn't show up. I had to produce the event.
That's what I'm saying.
He told me he had to work extra overtime. Pat, that's what he told me. He had to work overtime. This guy.
I don't know. I heard about Ben at the bars in Arlington. So
no way, Ben. Is this true?
Oh. No comment.
Ben's a hardworking man, but sometimes he likes to have his fun. You know, Ben Nassim, he's fucking crazy, this guy. But yeah, we'll have Ben on for a lot of people. Love you, Ben. They all missed you. You know, everybody's in the comments saying we need Ben. They love you, bro. And you turn your fucking cam off. Disrespectful to Marky B and Cammy. What's wrong with you? Does Toronto feel like they're still the underdogs, even though they're a top team to beat at the moment? Do you guys still feel like you're underdogs? No way you guys still feel like you're underdogs.
No, not really. I like that feeling. That's a good feeling. Because then it's more satisfying every time you win every game. You know what I mean?
But
Does it make sense that I think you guys are a top 4 team, but also a dark horse? Like every time I think about you guys, I'm like, they're gonna get top 4, but they're also a dark horse. Like I feel like you guys could just win an event, any event that you play, but you're also, I mean, you're very consistent. But I feel like you just have that dark horse kind of capability that the teams that usually aren't considered top 4 teams have.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because of like some of the other NA teams are obviously like really stacked and might look a bit like better on paper talent wise, but like. No, I don't know. I actually don't know, to be fair.
I think more household names, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like that, just household names and brands.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's just a lot of big people have been doing it for a long time, got a lot of fans. I mean, you guys are fairly new in terms of like a powerhouse name and just kind of making a name for yourselves. I mean, now I feel like you guys are at that point where like, at least for me, every time you guys are playing, I can see you guys going all the way every single tournament. It doesn't matter what tournament. But I didn't initially think that. I remember last year, Marky. Remember I was cooking your guys' comms last year in the beginning of the year. You guys were talking. I said, "What the fuck are they doing? They're not even talking." And then 2 weeks later, you guys were still commenting the same way and smoking everybody. I said, "What the fuck?"
Hold on, no wait. I gotta actually talk about this.
Those were worse then, way worse. Like 2 weeks prior.
Yeah, I remember that.
So something I said, it was during a listen-in from this weekend. I was like, yo, these guys' comms are so good, they sound American. Like
Oh, yeah, you did say that. You did say that.
The way your guys' comms were, like, they just sounded so concise and good, and you guys had really good small talk. It wasn't like there was like not a language barrier, but an accent barrier. It was just you guys sounded like you just as I would anticipate hearing like a normal American team.
You guys practice that, huh? Like fucking making sure you're calming the right way. Like I'm sure you guys talk about it a lot. Lamar used to fucking rip me to shreds about calming. He was like, communication was just such a big thing. And honestly, I feel like it's one of the most important parts of the game. Like you have to be calming. How do you guys practice that stuff?
There's definitely a big focus on making sure we keep the comms calm. Like whenever they're getting too hectic and getting a bit crazy, that's when we like calm it down. I think it's just that really is just us getting used to that in practice, and that's kind of how we always communicate. Yeah. I'd say like there is a bit more energy that comes when we're in matches. Obviously, it's not the exact same like match to scrim, but it's obviously still very similar.
I like that though. You up the energy for matches, up it a little bit when you get into the matches. It's a different feeling.
Not too much.
Yeah.
Then you start ego challenging people, When it's
100%. Well, it's just funny too, because whenever I think about like just the old days, like Pat, I just remember you just screaming, just popping pieces, just running at people. Like people just used to scream and just do whatever. The choo-choo train, remember fucking Killer just go woo for fucking
listen, bro.
45 seconds.
When you're shitting on people, bro, you can just say whatever you want, bro. Like, that's kind of just when like for example, that Berlin, like you guys could have literally started saying whatever you wanted to say because you guys were just individually winning every single gunfight.
True.
Speaking about Berlin, though, is that your guys' best hard point? And I'm just.
Whoa, hey, easy, Pat, easy, bro.
Well, I mean, obviously, we all, from watching it, it looks like you're. But is that, do you guys feel it's one of your top hard points? I should say.
I don't know. There's very few maps. I mean, so the veto's like fucking.
Yeah, dude.
Man, one map you got a chance of, one of the other ones being our good ones, but like, I don't actually know. It might be. On paper,
was that just a one-off map that you guys were just frying on, or?
I think so. I mean, there was no other results like that, like score anyway. So I think that was just kind of like a one-off. Like maybe they lost full after the map or the third map, and then we were on a roll.
No, we never played it perfectly though, like for sure. Like it was like exactly how we like sort of try and play in practice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, it never works out that way though in the games, like ever. But
we have 3 questions here from Arrow, and I like all 3 of these questions. I thumbed this up earlier today. One of them is just how do you like living in Toronto, and what's your favorite restaurant so far? Because Toronto's a fucking vibe. That's an incredible city to be in. How you guys liking it over there? And you guys got a good restaurant? Any recommendations for anybody that's ever in the area?
No. Well, I mean, listen. Yeah, you know what it was? Nah, it was Zin. Zin would he'd be making all the shouts on like what places we'd go to. Of course he was. Right? He loves his food. He does. So we were off to good recommendation. You can ask Zin here. You'll say Kasimoto. That's what he'll say. You got what else ones we got? STK Steakhouse, a big fan of that one. And then trying to think of like a good Italian place or something, So we went there with Zin too. There it is. We went there with Zin too.
So?
Soto.
Oh, Soto.
So I don't know how you say it, but I'm pretty sure that's how you.
Interesting.
That's how you say it.
Okay.
But no, it's good. It's been pretty like. To be fair, the lockdown rules here are a lot more strict than like I'd say places in the US. So
yeah.
I mean that's been kind of annoying, but that's fair enough, you know.
Yeah, you can't say anything
past
about that.
last month, ever since I came here on the 3rd, and I think it locked down on the 5th, and I think it opens up on the 31st again. So like gyms and stuff, everything's been closed for pretty much this full month, and but for like the majority of last year, it was open and it was good fun.
Yeah. I hope
the summer is good.
Yeah, the summers in Toronto is probably a vibe, right? I feel like
100%.
Toronto's like definitely a place to be when the weather's warm for sure. I've been to Toronto a couple times and I loved it over there. It's just something about it. It's almost like it's just very clean. Like I can't explain it. It's just like I'm like walking through the streets in New York City or Jersey. It's just like I'm in Toronto. I'm like, dude, it's clean. Like it keep it nice and spiffy over here.
And now you're in LA.
Yeah, now I'm in LA, which there's garbage all over the place and shit. I'm in the middle of Hollywood, so like it's a mess over here right now in Hollywood. You know, it is what it is. But at least the weather's nice. That's all that really matters. When scrimming, do you set goals for each scrim and specific areas to work on? So do you guys talk prior going into a practice or going into a scrim about certain things that you guys want to focus on today?
I was gonna say like going into like different maps. So obviously be talking about certain things we want to focus on, areas we need to improve on, and sort of how we're gonna do that, and sort of game plan that way. So we do all that shit.
And then the last. Go ahead, Pat. Go ahead.
What I was just gonna say, do you guys, when you hop on, do you have like do you guys talk before you play, like VOD stuff before? I know some teams do it before, some after. Like, what's the day-to-day look like for you guys in like a schedule summary?
Say like there's a little bit of probably like 15-20 minutes before talking about stuff, and a lot of our VODs usually done afterwards. Like, and then we sort of remind ourselves that. Like the next day, going into the next practice, we talk about the things we've talked about the night before, and then we sort of do it that way. Because I feel like when you do it before practice, sometimes it's kind of like a bit too much information going in, and a lot of the time it's just sitting there, you know, going over the same things, and then when it comes to the match, the situation you're talking about doesn't occur. So it's like it's more so just us talking about it afterwards has been what we've been doing.
Gotcha.
Cool. We got a couple more questions here, and then we can end it, because now that I'm scrolling, some of these are getting pretty trolly. Who's the smelliest on the team? This and I'm like, hey, what the fuck is going on over here?
Not me.
Not you, you said? You said not you?
Yeah, no, I smell amazing, mate, all the time.
The next question is, who has the smelliest chair on the team? Whose chair smells the worst over there? Who's grinding the most, I guess would say. Who's playing the most over there at the Toronto Ultra? Who's putting in the most time? Or do you guys pretty much just play every day, all day together? You know, every time you guys are playing, you just do it.
I'd say Toby plays the most, you know.
Yeah,
like,
Toby
probably plays the most.
Yeah, Toby's chair's stinking.
Yeah.
Fucking Toby. All right, listen, we got a couple more questions, and then we'll let you guys go. What do you like about content days, and how are you guys approaching content this year? Because I know Toronto was always focused on content. I feel like they always release good content. I'm always watching you guys' videos and stuff. I feel like they're very well made. And plus, you guys have a dope-ass just fucking facility and stuff like that. Like, seeing all that is just really cool. But, yeah, what about the content? How's the content this year? You guys enjoy content? Don't enjoy it? What's going on over there? I feel like listen, when you're competing, I know content's not like on your mind, right? I mean, look at me. When I was competing, I did content, but it wasn't priority to me. It just wasn't. And then as soon as that stopped, I've just been grinding content every day. I mean, it's what I do now. It's my job, right?
It's when you're competing, content feels like work.
Yeah, it does. It's just that extra time when you're so mentally drained, right, from just practicing or doing whatever you were doing. And like, it's hard. It really is hard, because you also need to make time for other things, right? So it's hard to balance both. But go ahead. I'll let you guys answer the question.
Nah, I mean, like you're saying, like when you're a competitor, right? Like all you want to do is get on. You want to scrim. You want to play, and you just want to get better. And like that's like the main thing. And I think. Yeah. Like, obviously, like, actually, when the thought of doing content sometimes, I'm like,
100%.
Can't be honest, man. You know what I mean? But then when you actually get to it, you start getting into it, you start having a bit of a laugh, you know? You get on with it, and the day goes by.
Yeah. Well, I think some content pieces are better than others too. I mean, there's been content pieces that were brought to the table on me, and I was like, I can't do this. This is not me. You know, this script is not gonna work. And then they're like, okay, well, do your own little twist on it, have some fun, and it'll be like the best content day ever. You never really know what's gonna happen. So you know, sometimes when I was playing Cammy, you were like, yeah, it's a content day, and you're like rolling your eyes. I 100%, I feel you on that. Especially if you were grinding the night before, or you just have a lot of shit to do, or a lot on your mind. Content's the last place you want to be. What last question we'll do was the plan to always run it back? Actually, no, we answered this one. This was the one Ben asked. Question from Mark. What were the main things you looked for in a player when you formed the initial 10-man ultra roster? Which, dude, I completely forgot that you guys had a roster with 10 fucking guys on it. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, we were just getting everyone on there, to be honest. We had enough room for everyone on there. Fill the CDL. So we were just pretty much getting, like, you know, all kinds of different players with all kinds of different strengths, with all kinds of different personalities as well, which did not work, obviously, when you have, like, 10 people that all think differently. So, I mean, it was a bit of a disaster. But
was it really, though?
No, obviously, we ended up, like, you know, having a bunch of good players in the mix there, which made it work out in the end. But realistically, when there was 10 of us there and we didn't actually have it so that they could play in challengers, it was obviously pretty horrible being part of, like, the sort of the B team when you're actually not competing for anything. You're just kind of, like, fighting to hopefully get a spot on the starting roster. So, I mean, it was a bit of a disaster. And
I don't think that was your guys' fault from, like, an org or team perspective, because that was on the league structure that hadn't really worked out, you know, what works best for having an academy team and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
I think that was just, like,
four
weird downside.
Four of us from the B team at the start were starting at the end of the year. So, like, realistically, I mean, I wouldn't be in the league if I didn't get that opportunity. Like, that was the only thing I had going into that game. So I think that was a bit of a blessing that they did do that, to be fair.
Yeah. We also got one more question for you, Cammy. Somebody just said, how do you handle not getting complacent like some other pros? I mean, complacency is a weird thing, but I'll let you answer.
I think I don't know, to be fair. You just can't. I don't know how that works. You just can't let it slide.
I feel like it's just a passion thing. You just love the game, you know.
I think I'm gonna give some gas to the coaches. I think Mark and Ryan, they do a good job of making sure that even, like, when it comes to scrims, like, they'll bring up little things that every player knows. Like, we'll know, like, we shouldn't have really done it, but they'll be like, yo, you can't do that. Like, not making sure you form any, like, bad tendencies, and there's little things like that that can add up to it, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead, Pat. Question. So obviously before the event there was that whole smoke sniper drama. You know, what is your guys' take on that beforehand? What's your guys' take on after the event? And kind of your overall thoughts on it.
Oh, well, I mean, they're good to have in, right? But, like, the smoke thing, I don't know if you the Drazza thing, right?
Yeah,
like, bro, before we walked on stage, we were like, listen, anyone gets one weighed, fucking GA's getting broke here. Like, and then obviously it comes to last map, the very first round, for a 1v2 as well, and he just dropped, like, as soon as he dropped the smoke on his feet when Toby was about to get the trade, I just knew he's gonna lose it. Like, and heads are gonna be gone. But, like, I don't know. That's, like, the only annoying thing to me. Like, I do wish stuff like that's in, because it can add to, like, a little bit more to S&D. Like, I feel like Cold War, like, it's pretty basic, pretty straightforward. And obviously, like, having smokes and snipers, it just changes the way the map plays. Like, if a sniper's frying, like, it completely changes the way the other team's playing and stuff like that, which is good to have in. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it'll stay in or what's going to go on with all that stuff.
Well, they need to fix the smokes.
That would help.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, I see a lot of pros going at it. Pros are attacking each other and coming at each other, this and that. And listen, I definitely agreed that if you guys agreed on not doing something before a match started and somebody did something, I 100% could see why there's frustrations and, you know, people were, you know, ranting about that. But the game needs to get fixed. At the end of the day, we could say the players could do whatever they want to try and get the game as competitive as possible, but we need the guys up top to help us out here. Because you know how it is, man. The pros shouldn't be put in a situation where they have to be making the rule set and doing shit like this. I mean, that's just fucking ridiculous at this point, right? So I think at the end of the day, they got to fix the fucking game. And we'll leave it at that. Ben, you got any questions before we go into the Ben putt and close this one out?
I guess my last question is, you guys know your Major 1 schedule. How do you guys feel about that? What's your kind of opinions going into it, and how do you feel overall for Major 1?
Yeah, I think that we're obviously very confident. Our first match against Seattle, so straight rematch against the team we played in the final, and then we're playing obviously LAT in Florida as well at some point. So like we're playing a bunch of teams we've already played, so it's gonna be interesting to see how that works out. And obviously we're gonna be focused on scrims the next week and a half. So we've just got back into practice yesterday, so we've got to focus up and obviously not let the foot get off the gas.
You gotta keep that gas pedal down, Marky. That's what my pops is always
100%.
saying. Smoking a cigarette out front, gotta keep that gas pedal down.
You gotta keep it going.
You know what I'm saying? He fucking
Fill down.
Yeah, you gotta keep
Fill
it
throttle,
fucking
lad.
down. You know what I'm talking about? But listen, hey, dude, Marky, Cammy, thank you guys so much for coming on, man. I fucking love you guys. You guys are the fucking goats. I appreciate it. I congrats again on the win. I count this shit. I saw half the chat saying it doesn't count. They wrong. It counts in my book. All right. So I appreciate you guys coming on. Best of luck to you guys moving forward. I wish you nothing but the best. But before you guys go, we can't have you guys go anywhere until Benji and Asim sinks this fucking pot. That's what I'm talking about. And Ben, we got special guests today, so we need you to sink this. All right?
Yeah, we're Scottish, mate, and you know the home of golf, so you better be, you know.
Oh
shit!
shit!
See, here's the issue: is I just
Extra
went on a
pressure here.
I just went on a golf trip, and Rambo Ray had me change up my entire putting routine. So we'll see.
No way! He gave
Using
you
excuses.
Yeah, he's already
Yeah,
starting. He's already starting
free
here.
fire.
Let's see if I can make this. Stand by.
Oh no!
Stand by.
He
What are we
said-
at an event?
He's a helicopter.
He said stand by. We can't see your form, Ben. Look at this guy. He's still got those slippers must smell like shit. Those slippers,
slippers
man.
in Toby's
He
chair.
be wearing those
They
slippers
smell.
every day. Okay, lining it up, stepping up on the green. Let's see if Rambo Ray can teach this guy right. Benji Nasim slippers on. Go! It goes wide. He misses the ball. You gotta be kidding me, Ben, with the special guest here. You
He's at a
kidding me? Oh,
stinker.
he went right back for it. Look, he went right back. There you go. He had to go back and sink it for the one time. That's what I'm talking about, Ben Janet's team. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get it was a land because he missed the first one. But then if you guys want to show him some love. Ben, what happened, bro? What happened? The wind? Was it the wind?
I pulled it a little bit, but it's all good.
Yeah, what are you gonna do, Ben? Hey, Ben, thank you for joining us today, too. I know you producer Ben now, but we love having you on the show. Everybody loves having you here, so we appreciate it. Shout out to all you guys, man. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Go to anchor.fm/theflank to check out all the audio sites that we're on. Make sure to go follow The Flank on Twitter @theflank. Gage doing a phenomenal job over there. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. We'll see you guys in another episode. We're gonna do a power ranking, right, Ben? Before and Pat, we're gonna do a power ranking before the season starts. We should probably do a little power ranking.
Yeah, I think we'll do it next week. Also preview the schedule. I just took a look at the schedule, and there's some bangers next week. So
Yeah, there's gonna be some bangers, and that
surprised.
power ranking, man. I'm gonna be honest, is gonna be hard as fuck. Like, dude, the competition is insane. So that'll be a good episode.
Already got my 12 down.
Well,
Oh shit!
okay, I was talking with Ann about it at the airport, and I'm curious to see where you guys rank. We'll just say that.
Yeah, listen, I haven't made mine yet, so I gotta sit down and think about it. What are we making all set? We're all making a separate one. Is that what we're doing?
I'm not making one. You guys can.
Wait, I think that's the best thing to do. Yeah. Wait, no, Ben, you should make one. We won't
No,
talk about it.
I can't make one.
Why?
can't?
Why can't you make? What are you talking about?
I have to be impartial.
What are you talking about? Impartial.
What
What
do
Dude, you can be
what do
impartial.
are you talking about?
It's
I mean-
like making
I
a
mean-
bracket. Like,
Guy, listen, Ben's gonna make one. We'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, brush your hair, have a good day. Later, guys.